Hi, everyone, for joining. My name is Rafi Shulman, and I'm the co-founder of Olim Advisors. And joining me tonight is my partner, Laura Itzhaki. So
Hi,
thanks for joining
everyone.
us tonight. Um, just before we get started, just a few things. We will be recording this, as Laura mentioned. So if you need to leave early, we'll send a recording within the next day or two so you can watch it. And please feel free to share it. I know that people that registered for tonight who can't attend, or people that you know who might be interested in the community, please feel free to share it. And I'll include my contact information at the end of the presentation so you can reach out to me and we can go over some more of the details. Just in terms of background, if you, for those of you who aren't familiar with Olim Advisors, we started Olim Advisors back in 2016 because we recognized that making Aliyah and buying a home in Israel was challenging. There are people from around the world that had this dream of making Aliyah, and for a number of reasons, they just felt that they couldn't move forward. They couldn't put together a game plan, and so we wanted to help them by providing a very personalized, very high-end service where an Aliyah advisor is dedicated to each one of our clients, and we will then guide them through the process from the early stages of the Aliyah, of choosing communities and schools and things like that, to dealing with bureaucracy once they're here, and then to just providing ongoing support as they adjust to life in Israel. We found that the same thing also applies to real estate. A lot of people don't necessarily buy when they make Aliyah, but they're living in Israel for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and then they're ready to buy. They're ready to buy something in Israel, and the process is just different. It's different from the States and UK and South Africa. And one of the things that a lot of people are concerned about is who should they work with? Who can they trust? Who should they not trust? No one wants to be taken advantage of, especially when it comes to making such a big decision when it comes to real estate. And so we, in essence, expanded our services to help people find their home in Israel, and we guide them through the process from beginning to end, from finding the right communities, the right developers, the right projects. And then we're behind the scenes just guiding them through the project, through the transaction, and introducing them to our network of professionals. So these are individuals that we have found are extremely hardworking, trustworthy. These are people, many of them are Olim, so they can relate to people who are looking to buy from abroad or people that have made Aliyah and are buying from here. And so together we can really make sure that people can find properties that meet the needs and are within their budget. The bottom line is that um, you really shouldn't go through any of the process alone, whether you're making Aliyah or you're buying a home. Ask for help. And what we have found is that we're able to save people a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of aggravation, and a lot of money too when it comes to buying real estate here in Israel. So without further ado, I'd like to get started and just talk about as just kind of recap what we talked about it. And one of the important things here to mention is that we're not a real estate company. And why is that important? Is that if any of you have dealt with people in real estate, you know that there's to some extent a conflict of interest. If you're dealing with a realtor, for example, in Ashkelon, they want you to buy in Ashkelon, even though there might be a property in Netanya or Nahariya that's better. So for people who are looking to buy, for example, along the beach, they have to go through and deal with the different realtors, and each realtor is going to try and convince them why their city, their projects are the best, when in fact it might not be. And so that's where we come in, is from our point of view, it doesn't matter if you want to buy down south, up north, east, or west, if your budget is 500,000 or 5 million. We're here to guide you through the process and to protect you and to really expose you and mention to you different projects, different opportunities that we come across that we think would be suitable for foreign buyers, for Olim and for Anglos. And that's why we're doing the webinar today, because about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, we stumbled across this community, this beach community, and we literally fell in love with it. We went ahead and we bought an apartment there, and we've been using it and really enjoying it for the past 4 years. So we can really speak about it from a first-hand experience. And we want a lot of people, we want a lot of Anglos, we want a lot of foreigners to come and to join us in this beautiful community. So I'm going to go ahead and just share a short video that we have here, just that shows the beauty of it, and then we'll bring it back to the presentation. Or do you see the presentation? Do you see the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
את מדינת תל אביב, ויש את מדינת אכזיב, רכבת מחברת ביניהם. בעצם אנחנו נמצאים במדינה אחרת לחלוטין, הטבע בשיאו, וכאן אישרו הקמת שכונה חדשה שקמה, באמת מרחק צעדים ספורים מהשמורה, מהים. בואו, תראו בעצמכם. את הנוף המרהיב ביותר לים ניתן למצוא בשכונת הים אכזיב, הצופה לאחד החופים היפים והמיוחדים היום בישראל, הלגונות של חוף אכזיב, משתרעת על פני כ-65 דונם במרחק כ-200 מטר בלבד מרצועת החוף. בקרוב תחל בניית מרכז מסחרי לרווחת השכונה בגודל 3,000 מטר. השכונה כוללת כ-750 דירות בכ-30 בניינים, כל הדירות כוללות מרפסות גדולות שפונות לים.
אחד היתרונות הגיאוגרפיים הבולטים של מדינת ישראל הוא חוף הים הארוך שלה. אנחנו מדברים על לגור 200 מטר מחוף הים, בהחלט אתה מקבל איכויות שעבורן אתה משלם באזורים אחרים בישראל הרבה יותר כסף. יש כאן הזדמנות נדירה כמעט לגור כמעט ממש על הים.
במקום שהתחלנו לתכנן, הבנו שבעצם אנחנו נמצאים בסוג של גן עדן. עכשיו השאלה היא מה אנחנו עושים עם הגן עדן הזה, איך אנחנו מפתחים אותו כדי שיקרה משהו מרתק.
אחד הרעיונות המרכזיים פה היה בעצם ליצור מתחם בלי גדרות, ואין בעצם הפרדות בין הבניינים לבין הים, ככה שאתה יכול לרדת מהבניין שלך תוך מערכת של חצרות ושבילים, ללכת אל הים. הבאת אותנו לקריביים.
ראית איזו הרגשה?
איך זה לעבור מתל אביב? חצי לעבור.
ואיך שמגיעים לפה, הזמן עוצר. זה באמת הכי קרוב לחול, בלי לעבור בנתב"ג. הגשנו במקום המדהים הזה, לא האמנו שאפשר להיות כל כך קרובים לים, ובחופשה מושלמת, ואחרי זה החופשה הזאת אנחנו רוצים כדרך חיים. בנינו לעצמנו קהילה שתומכת ונמצאת שם עבור כולנו, קהילה שכיף לגור איתה וכיף לחיות בתוכה, שמעניקה המון אהבה אחד לשני.
כמו שנקרא לפנינו, הכפר הפיניקי העתיק, שהיה ידוע כקלאב מת, בננה ביץ' המיתולוגית, ובניינים, זה מטורף, מה קורה פה?
פוקדים אותנו אנשים מאילת ועד דן, ולא כסיסמה, אלא אנשים שבאמת מחפשים דירות לעצמם, לנופש, להשקעה וגם למגורים. דירות משודרגות עם מפרט עשיר, ונהנים מהממשק הזה בין הטבע לבין המגורים, שבהליכה קצרה, אם זה באופניים, אם זה ברגל, לקחת את הסף, לקחת את הגלשן ולצאת לים הפתוח.
האמת, לא צריך לדבר הרבה. הטבע מדבר בשם עצמו. אתם רואים לבד, עדיף לשתוק, לראות וליהנות.
Can you please just hear me out? No, I'll work, man.
Let's switch back to the presentation. Okay, Laura, can you see the screen again, the presentation?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. So where is Akhziv? So Akhziv is up north by Naharia, and what's beautiful about it is that it's not just an isolated location. It's surrounded by a lot of wineries, and there's a lot of trails, a lot of places you can go and you can enjoy, which is really something special about the location. When we talk to people about Akhziv, they say, wow, it's up north. And our response is, it's not as far as you think. We live in Hashmonaim, which is near Modi'in, and we go there very often. We'll go there for Shabbat, we'll go there for a weekend, we'll go there for a few days. Our kids will go there. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours based on traffic, depending on traffic, from Hashmonaim, Modi'in. And it's Akhziv, the community, is kind of self-contained, but it's literally a 5-minute drive from Nahariya, from the center of town, from the bus station, from the train station. And once you're there, you can hop on a train to Modi'in and get to Modi'in in about 2.5 hours. You can hop on a train to Tel Aviv and get into Tel Aviv in 2 hours. In fact, I recently met somebody who moved to Akhziv about a year ago, and he works for a company in Tel Aviv, and so he goes twice a week. He commutes, hops on a train, does some work, and then other days he works from home. So it is northern Israel, but I think a lot of people understand that there's some special aspect of being a little bit removed, a little bit outside of the center of Israel, and this is one of the amazing things that it has to offer. So here's an aerial view of the project, and it's being built in stages. What's one of the nice things about this project, this community, is that it's being built together by two of the largest developers in Israel, Electra and Tzemach Hammerman. They're both public companies and, as I said, large developers. And what's nice about it, as you can see, is that they've planned this ahead of time. So even though they're building it in stages, it's not like a Lego. It's not like different pieces that look differently. Everything flows together nicely. You can see the buildings are in the back, shorter buildings are in the front. There's houses that other people are building, another company is building, and the houses have to be a certain height so they're not blocking the view. So as you can see, it really flows nicely and comes together nicely. When everything's said and done, there will be 33 buildings and about just over 1,000 apartments. They've already completed 2/3 of them, so they already have 22 buildings that have been built. Now they're working on the next phase, which we'll talk about in a moment. Also, what's special about Achziv, you can see the greenery there between the beach. Up north, or the top of the screen, is Rosh Hanikra. Down south is Nahariya, and so the greenery around it is a nature preserve. So if you look between this community all the way up to Rosh Hanikra, they can't build any there. They can't build over there by law. It's going to be preserved, and it's also between the community and the beach. It's going to be the sand dunes and the nature preserve, which really makes it beautiful. These are just some of the pictures of some of the things that they have in place. There's they're building a commercial center, so they'll have a small commercial center. It'll be maybe a coffee shop, a grocery store, things like that. There's a mitnas, which is like a little building there for hugim. There's a park there. They want to build tennis courts, basketball courts. There's going to be a school there eventually, and there'll be a tayelet that will stretch all the way from the north of Rosh Hanikra through Achziv into Nahariya. So you'll have this beautiful stretch. Right now you can still work down to Nahariya, but it's just not finished. It's just like a little bit of a sandy road, but it's really going to be beautiful when everything is said and done. So there's two phases actually that are available right now that we're marketing with Electra. So phase 3, which is the 6 buildings, you can see it's kind of in the back of the project. And then there's stage 4 that they're now starting to build. Stage 3 is comprised of 6 buildings, and stage 4 is going to be comprised of 4 buildings. So let's talk first about phase 3. So this is now available. They actually just finished the buildings about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and so people are moving in. So there's immediate occupancy. These are 6 buildings, 9 floors each, a total of 32 apartments per unit, per building, and 192 apartments in the 6 buildings. It's done, as you can see, every apartment has a view to the sea. There's 4-room apartments or 3-bedroom apartments, which are in the wings. And then you have the 4-bedroom apartments, which are facing the sea. So once you have an apartment above the 2nd floor, remember, there are going to be houses in front of them. So once you're above the 2nd floor, every apartment will have a nice view. One of the nice things about this phase also is that it's the 3rd phase. So the companies have learned and gotten feedback from the tenants for the previous 2 phases. For example, the mirpasot, the balconies are open. The exterior of the building is made with a special material that doesn't wear over time. They've made some improvements in the apartments themselves with the tiles, and so it's really a beautiful buildings and beautiful layout. Here are just some renderings of the different apartments, and you can see how it's set up with the inside, with the living room, the kitchens, the bedrooms have views, and then of course the balconies. The top one is the penthouse balcony, and then the garden apartment in the bottom there. You really have a nice space. You can see in the back here there's actually a pool. Some people will put in pools, so you really have an opportunity to go to the beach, jump in the pool. You can do both. It's really a lot of fun. This is the 4th phase. So as you can see, it's the 4 buildings here that are being built. And the deadline for when it'll be complete is going to be March of 2027. Now, keep in mind, what was interesting with this project is that Electra, from the beginning, we're using Chinese workers. So even throughout the war, they actually were ahead of schedule with the phase 3 that they just completed. They were about 6 to 9 months ahead of schedule. So for those of you who are wondering how the schedule might be impacted by the war, you never know what the future is going to bring, but at least based on what's happened recently, things are moving forward. And when I was in Achziv a couple of weeks ago, they were making nice progress on these buildings. Here are just a couple of renderings. You can see, the layouts of the apartments, the different sizes, and I'll talk about the size in a moment. The garden apartment there that has beautiful open space, and the penthouse as well. So the question is how much, and this is one of the things that really appealed to us because there are a lot of beautiful communities and developments on the sea, but here you have really the best of both worlds. You have the beautiful community and it's peaceful, it's quiet, and you have a price point that is much more affordable than the other communities, whether it's Ashkelon, Netanya, definitely Netanya, Tel Aviv. It's really something that I think a lot of people find very affordable. So in terms of prices, the 4-room or the 3-bedroom is just over 2 million shekel, and that's approximately $560,000. You have the 5-room, which are again facing the front. Those are 2.7 million shekel, approximately $745,000. Then you have the garden apartments, and I think there's only one left, and that's just under 2.8 million shekel, approximately $775,000. And then the penthouses are 5 rooms, 4.73 million or 1.3. Also, what's important with the new construction is that you have an opportunity to put a deposit down. So with this, because they built already, then you have to pay. Of course, you can take a mortgage if you want to, or if you want to go ahead and pay in cash, then of course that's doable. And the prices will fluctuate a little bit based on the floor and the location. The phase 4 has actually more options here. There's a 3-room or 2-bedroom, just under 2 million shekel, which is again, something that it's going to be very hard to find for those who don't need the extra bedrooms to be able to get an apartment. Literally a 4 or 5 minute walk from the beach for under 2 million shekel is almost unheard of. It's about $550,000. A 4-room or 3-bedroom is 2.35 million shekel, approximately 652,000. The 5-room apartments are 2.68 million shekel, approximately 743. And then there's actually 2-size garden apartments. So the other phase 3 only has a 5-room garden apartments. Here there's 4 and 5-room. The 4-room ones cost 2.62 million shekel, approximately 727,000. And the 5-room garden apartments are just over 3 million, approximately 835,000 dollars. Excuse me. And the penthouse, there's 2 sizes. The large one, the 5-room penthouse, is just over 4 million shekel. It's about 1.13 million. I'll tell you from experience, we bought the garden apartment in the previous phase, and I think if you're looking at it as a vacation home, if you have kids, then that's great to be able to go outside and you can play. Also as an investment, because there are fewer garden apartments. If this is something that you want to buy and maybe flip or buy and keep and sell in a few years, buying a garden apartment is something that can retain its value. Here you do have the option of putting down 20% and then 80% as the building is completed. So from a cash flow point of view, that's something important to keep in mind. So the question is when, right? We talked to a lot of people, whether they're outside of Israel or in Israel, and it's something they wanted to do, and especially for people who have been thinking about it for a while, more often than not, they regret not moving forward, right? It's a big decision, so I'm not suggesting at all that that's an impulse decision, that you rush through this, but it is something that if you're thinking about buying, whether in this community or elsewhere, I really want to encourage you to move forward, because what we're seeing, and keep in mind, again, we're seeing a cross-section of projects throughout the country at different price points. Prices are going up, and we're seeing that even during the war, things may be in some places softened a little bit, but in general, prices are going up. And I think, especially in the places like Achziv, as more and more people hear about it, as it kind of gets on the map, there's a hedge fund from Tel Aviv that just paid 750 million shekel to buy a property in the northern corner of this community, and they're going to be building a small boutique hotel. So all of this just points to the fact that I think prices will keep on going up. And also what's important to keep in mind, because it's being built in stages, in phases, each phase that is being built the developers raise the price. So there's kind of a push from the developers, of course, also from from the demand. And so the advantage of buying now is to lock in the price and to choose from the apartments as they sell. The ones that are more favorable, the ones that are more desirable, will be sold sooner, and then the other ones will be left over. And to give people an additional incentive, an additional reason to buy now, there's two limited time promotions that we're running with the developers. The first one is that if you buy an apartment in phase 3, so if you remember, that's the one that's being built right now and will be ready in just under 2 years, Electra, the developer, will pay you rent for the first 24 months, right? Which is unheard of, really. And what they're going to do even more than that is they're going to give you a check up front. So it's based on the size of the apartment. If it's a 4-room apartment, you'll get about 108,000 shekel, I think. If it's a 5-room apartment, I think 20,000 shekel. It can go up a little bit more. And so this is something I know for a lot of people who are looking to buy and then maybe rent it out. And this really gives you the opportunity to benefit from both worlds. You can buy it and rent it out. You get the income, in essence, for the equivalent of 2 years from when it's ready. And you can still enjoy it at the same time. So you're getting the income and you're enjoying it, which is something that I think is very unique. And then there's a nice little perk as well. They will offer, Electra will give the first 3 buyers that come through a voucher to buy appliances from the Electra store. So it's a 10,000 shekel voucher that you can go ahead and use towards buying your appliances. So what are the next steps? So the first thing is to let us know. And if you want to get on an individual call and if you have questions, we can, of course, go into the details, answer your questions. And then the next thing is to visit Achziv, and we will meet you there and we'll show you around. And I recently did this with a couple from Yerushalayim. They came, I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago. They heard about Achziv, and they took the bus, and then I think they took the train to Nahariya. I picked them up from the train station. And we just walked down to the beach, and we had the meeting with the sales and project manager. And by the time they were done, they had fallen in love with it. Within a week or so, they decided they wanted to move forward. They signed the registration form. The registration form, a lot of contractors will ask you to give them a deposit check that they then hold. Electra doesn't do that. The only thing that they ask is that you are committed to this. They say, if you're 97% in other words, if you really are very serious about it, then sign the registration form, because in essence what they'll do is they'll take that apartment off the market while you're reviewing the contract, which is the next step. You have about 2 weeks to review the contract, to formalize it, and then you get the keys. If you're buying it in the 4th apartment, you can literally move in. If you're buying it in the 3rd phase, then you wait until it's completed. But that's the process. It's pretty straightforward, and of course we're happy to guide you through the entire process. Here's my contact information. Definitely jot it down, and I'll send out a recording. If you have any questions, just go ahead and put it in the Q&A box, and we can answer them. If not, we can also talk offline, of course, and answer your questions. Laura, is there anything else you wanted to add that I didn't mention?
I think if anyone is looking and interested, they should definitely come see it in their own, take the train or drive up and see what it's all about. The pictures are beautiful, but when you go there and you feel the whole atmosphere there, it's like a dream come true. So I highly recommend, if you're thinking about it, take the time, go and see. And definitely, I don't think there's I can't think of any other communities in Israel by the beach this close that have this price point. And it's nice that it's a little bit out of the center. You feel like you're really going on vacation. So yes, it is a drive, depending on traffic. Like Afi said, from Modi'in, it could be 1.5 hours to 2 hours. But it's like a real vacation home. Or for some people, it's become their actual home. So depending on what your needs are. But I think best reach out. If you're interested, reach out to us and reach out to Rafi, and we can speak to you one-on-one. And we highly recommend meeting you and coming to see the place. And we did the same thing. One of our clients told us about it. We got up there and we all fell in love, and we bought an apartment there. So we love it. Big fans of the area.
A couple of things I've had to mention that are important. In terms of the demographics, it's primarily Israelis. There are Anglos and, again, vacation homes, and I think more people are moving. I think it's because it's so close to Nahariya, and there's the restaurants and the trains and the supermarkets. There's a Rami Levy that's 3 minutes away from there. There's the hospital. I think a lot of people it appeals to them who don't want to be in the center of town or in Nahariya. It is more to the secular side, so I would say about 70, maybe 70% secular, 30% religious. But there is a shul there, and there is an eruv, and there are kosher restaurants, and so it really has a nice mix of people there. And I think it's just going to keep on growing as more people hear about it. Okay, so I think we're good. I don't see any questions here, but again, we look forward to talking to you. If you have any questions, let us know. So thanks for joining us tonight, and stay tuned. We're going to do more webinars about different projects throughout the country. And of course, if anyone's looking to make Aliyah, then we're more than happy to help you. So be well, everyone. Shavua Tov. Take care.
Shavua Tov. Thank you for joining us. Take care.